Hello, my name is Giuseppe Serio. I'm the Senior Director of Market Development at Upstream, and today I want to talk about vehicle data and how it relates for better customer experience and retention. Connected vehicle is not a new thing, as we know. Connected vehicle have been on the rise in the last couple of years, and it's expected that by 2023, we will have about 800 million of vehicles connected. So what does it mean, connected? As you can see from the slides, connectivity means an entire mobility system that is connected from, to, and with the vehicle. So within the vehicle, all the new features and tools and technologies that are deployed, for instance, Bluetooth or cellular or satellite communication or GPS navigation. On the other hand, there's backend systems which take data from the vehicle and provide a means to do connected services, whereby, for instance, with mobile devices, open doors or use cases like checking the fuel level and the like can be performed. As you can read from that slide, it's true that roughly 40 terabyte of data every 8 hours of driving will be generated. That's a massive amount of data. And it's also important to acknowledge that where we have connectivity to the internet, there will always be attacks. As you can see from the Upstream report on cyber automotive from 2021, the attacks or the publicly reported incidents have been skyrocketing in the past. And this is true because with new capabilities, new functions and features being added to the car, it's becoming more and more interesting for the bad guys to try to search and exploit for personal or monetary gains. At Upstream, we truly believe that while data and taking data for providing additional services is the way forward, and I will elaborate on that in the next slides. It's, however, really important to understand that at the core, we believe trust should be in place. And I give you an example with a banknote. So if you take a banknote out of your wallet and look at the number that is stated on top of it, you will realize that the reason why you believe that the number is true is because there's a mutual agreement in that country or system that the value that is provided to purchase services or products is the number or equaling the number that is stated on that banknote. However, the intrinsic value of that banknote is literally zero because it's the value of the paper. Now, using that analogy in the context of connected vehicle data and the data that is then leveraged for customer relationship management, it's important to, from the very beginning, understand that the data which is coming, as I showed you, from different and heterogeneous sources can be aggregated, analyzed, scrutinized, and checked for anomalies in order to determine if that value provided out of the data or the data itself is trustworthy. And then on top of it, you can create use cases that go with advanced analytics like insurance or predictive maintenance, third-party applications, and the like. But at a foundation, it's always key to understand that the source and the trust of that source is really, really important. We know that the auto industry is currently undergoing massive changes, and there are 4 imperatives in that mobility space that are responsible for that. So one is the macroeconomics, which is, as we know, ACEs or autonomous, connected, the electrification that's happening, but also the shared mobility. We also see a shift and change in the customer behavior. So customers no longer necessarily need to own a vehicle. They can partially own it or share it, or even use different means of transportation to get from A to B. All that is normal. And the customer expectation have increased. So the same level of experience that we have today with shopping at Amazon or eBay or anywhere else is expected also to happen within the car or in the car or with the services around the car, which means for competitive purposes, it's no longer enough to focus on the product itself. It's really imperative to understand the key, the customer as a enabler or the customer experience, and putting the customer at the core of all activities to provide value is really important. Likewise, we have regulation that in particular for the topic of cyber is coming in 2022 and 2024 to the industry. And in order to sell cars, it will be very important to understand potential attacks surface during the product development, the product manufacturing process, but also during the operation and the lifetime, which can be up to 40, 50 years for a specific vehicle. That needs to be maintained safe and secure. And again, it's important to understand if data can be trusted in the first place. Alongside, there are four major areas that are shaping, to my mind, the customer relationship. And they can be essentially divided into two streams. One stream is related to the external, so the interaction between an organization and its customers, or the multiple customer in the ecosystem, as well as the benefits derived from the relationship with customer for the product development or for internal purposes. Number one, in the market and sales area, as I mentioned, customer centricity is really key. The lifetime value that a customer can provide by being a loyal customer and leveraging using services along with the product is really, really important. And we see more and more that in the aftermarket, it is important to unlock and understand how to further provide value, not only by a great product, but also to help customer navigate with the product in specific situations like predictive maintenance or quality, or for ecosystem player like insurance, understanding and detecting frauds. These are all use cases that will provide additional revenue streams for the automotive industry. Also, better vertical integration with dealerships. So for instance, if a customer needs servicing, understanding frequency of services, types of services, or even pre-ordering before an appointment is even done, what type of component is needed to be repaired or serviced, can tremendously improve the interaction and the loyalty of a customer. As I mentioned, the other side is the internal side. From a product quality perspective, it's important to understand how customers interact, play, use, leverage services or the product itself. And it's also a means to better understand if insights derived from malfunction or misbehavior of the car can be anticipated, sorted out in the future, and even ideally eliminated. And on the product development side itself, determining the usage and the type of interaction can create tremendous value in reducing the costs for the product development, because you better understand how your customer interacts with a customer and uses it, and therefore an organization can be better prepared to serve the right product at the right time with the right set of capabilities in a specific market. Again, knowing the customer is key, and understanding the value that is derived from specific capability is key. Now, how do you secure that? How do you make it trustworthy. And we believe there's 4 challenges that need to be tackled. One is the vehicle complexity itself. We need to better understand how to provide a means to cover and understand the data that is coming from a product, millions of lines of code, software-defined vehicle in the mouths of everywhere these days. It's really important to have cybersecurity, trust in the data from the beginning on, and not as an afterthought, because it's then secure. It's hard to secure. This goes along also with the backend system, the services. Security needs to be there from the very moment so that the data can be trusted. Likewise, the supply chain, all the supplying ecosystem, we see it these days with the chip shortage, how this can massively affect the entire industry. It's important to have the depth and understanding about the trust of the data and the interaction and the collaboration that exists with the supply chain partners. And the threat landscape itself, as we are putting more features, more capabilities, more services, we need to take care that those vulnerabilities are adequately covered and adequately addressed, because the bad guys for sure are looking at this increased landscape and how to take benefit out of that by exploiting it. It becomes really important to fix things via updating mechanisms, and that is really the key in order to operate a product over a specific period of time until disposal. Likewise, it's really important to understand that while I was talking about automotive and the product, or so the vehicle itself, the vehicle is not an isolated in its industry. As we drive on streets in the city, as we in future charge cars in a charging station, or if we drive along a highway, or need to take a ship, or we will do intermodal travel, it's really important to keep in mind that the impact of the data that is needed and that crosses and travels with a specific customer is at the intersection of at all of these. And again, it needs to be trusted in order to provide the value in the first place. Which again leads me to my point of view, or to the point of view that the trust in data is the foundation for making smart mobility safe and secure. And with that, thank you very much for your attention.